Hi guys, welcome back. Please check out my Movember campaign, the details for which are found in the description. It's a good cause, so please check it out. Flashpoint is back, and Season 2 is looking very enticing. There are 4 of the top 20 teams in attendance, including number 6 in the world Big and number 7 in the world OG, which is a vast improvement compared to Season 1, where none of the teams attending were in the top 10. In fact, the majority of the teams attending the inaugural season weren't even in the top 30 in the world, which massively diminished the prestige associated with the tournament, which offered a comparatively huge prize pool. The teams have been split into 3 groups, with the top 2 teams from each group progressing into the playoffs, and then the 3rd place teams and the best of the 4th place teams going into a single elimination play-in last chance bracket. Now, I'm no analyst, but I'm going to take a stab at some predictions and then build a quick fantasy team. I hope you're ready to hear the exact opposite of what's probably going to happen. Group A contains Fnatic, Contact, Dignitas and Mad Lions. The favourites of this group are clearly Fnatic, being the highest ranked team in the group, as well as being the team with the most stable roster throughout 2020, their only lineup change coming in January. Mad Lions are the reigning Flashpoint champions, but this is not the same roster as last time. They've lost Asilian and Bubsky, and in their stead they have Hootsy and Refresh. I don't know much about Hootsy. I haven't seen him play, and I haven't really seen much of his teams play. That in itself is a bit of an indictment, because he hasn't been competing at the highest level, and this tournament will be a massive step up for him, so I'm not sure he's going to be able to hang at the top level. Refresh, whilst yes, a solid rifler, has been out of even the tier 2 scene for at least a year, so he might also have a lot of ring rust need shaken off. Unfortunately for Dignitas, I see them as the weakest of the 3 teams, not called Fnatic. Even though Contact have lost Smooya, I think they have the firepower and the chemistry to overcome the veterans on Dignitas. And the way I see it, Contact, Dignitas lose their opening games, Contact beat Dignitas, and then Dignitas are essentially left in a situation where they need the other 2 4th place teams to perform worse than them. Probably will take a map in each of their best of 3s, and I think there is another team that will definitely do worse than them in another group. Fnatic will cruise through this group and head directly to the playoffs, with Mad Lions putting up less of a fight than we'd expect or hope. Mad Lions will defeat Contact in the lower final, meaning Contact will go through to the last chance play-in, whereas Mad Lions will probably still make the playoffs without needing to do the extra play-in, but maybe not on much of a high. The seeding I have is Fnatic at 1, Mad Lions at 2, Contact at 3, and Dignitas at the bottom. Group B is an interesting one. As well as containing the pride of Germany and the former pride of Brazil, this group contains the least hyped of the big budget international teams in Envy, and the team with everyone's least favourite CEO in Force. Envy and MIBR have had quite tumultuous years with a lot of players leaving and a lot of players coming in. Envy haven't actually played since June, and since then have lost Ryan and Moose, who maybe weren't their best players, but are definitely a solid part of their team. Instead of Ryan and Moose, they've brought in a coach and a UKCS player. MIBR have cut some of their worst performing players, and their new roster has been explosive and incredibly promising. The first game of this group is between Forza and Envy. Whilst everyone might hate certain elements of the Forza organisation, the players are still quality and should comfortably deal with Team Envy. Big versus MIBR will be a far more tightly contested match. MIBR are riding high on a series of excellent performances against some of the best teams in the world. I see MIBR taking this series in 3 and sending Big down to the lower bracket. In the lower bracket, Big will smash Team Envy 2-0 and move on to the consolidation final. In the upper bracket, MIBR will take down Force and set themselves up as one of the 2 teams going straight into the playoffs. In the consolidation final though, Big and Force will probably have quite a close match. I have Big going through to the group's grand final and Forza finishing in 3rd, but it could go either way. I have Big down as winning the rematch with MIBR, the 1 week layoff between the upper final and the grand final leading to MIBR cooling off a little too much. In Group B, Big will have the 1 seed, MIBR the 2, Force the 3, and Envy the 4. It's my prediction that Envy's performances will make them the worst 4th place team, below Dignitas and probably below the next team I'm about to bring up. Group C might be the weirdest of the 3. We have seen nothing of this new Cloud9 roster, and Gen G have had to sign a pair of Swedish stand-ins at the last second, so they are rather hard to get a grip on. OG and Virtus.pro have been putting up quite impressive performances recently, and I expect that to continue going into this tournament. VP will defeat C9 in 3, and OG will 2-0 Gen G. In the upper final, OG will beat Virtus.pro in 3 maps, their firepower proving far too much for all the saved AWPs, and in the lower bracket, C9 will beat Gen G in 3 maps as well. In the consolidation final, C9 will win the rematch with Virtus.pro and go on to the grand final. It seems like a long shot, but this will be their third best of 3 as a team, at least competitively, and they should have the right combination of team chemistry and honeymoon excitement to defeat the CIS roster. They'll lose the grand final to OG, but they will still make the playoffs in their initial showing as a team. OG at the 1, C9 at 2, VP at 3, and Gen G at 4. The last chance player. The 4 teams I've predicted to be competing in the last 2 spots of the playoffs are Virtus.pro, Force, Contact, and finally Dignitas. I do think they will be a better 4th place team than Gen G, even though I do predict Gen G to take at least 1 map in their 2 losses. As the best 3rd place team, Forza will play Dignitas and beat them comfortably. Contact will play Virtus.pro and lose in 3 maps. In the playoffs, Fnatic is the most likely to go through unscathed all the way to the grand final, seeing that they are the most experienced and most prolific team in the playoffs. The team meeting them in the grand finals will be, controversially I think, Virtus.pro. Virtus.pro have an incredibly potent roster, especially compared to their ranking over the past year, which has plummeted. Whilst they have been able to climb back up into the top 20, they have been out of the spotlight for quite a while, and this tournament will bring them right back in it. In an upset for the ages, VP will take the grand final in 2 maps. Knowing all of this, it is time to build a fantasy team. The team needs to include players who are likely to go deep in the tournament, as well as players with well-defined roles in order to optimise the bonus points. First things first, I'm going to eliminate every player from the teams that are not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to play enough games to gather enough points, realistically. So goodbye to everyone from Dignitas, Gen G, Envy, and Contact. As I've predicted Virtus.pro to make the final, I'm going to pick 2 players from them. Firstly, Sanji. He's a low budget option and has an incredibly high headshot percentage. I'm picking him and giving him the headshot role. Second, Jame. He always has a high HLTV rating thanks to his low deaths per round, and that combined with the number of AWP frags he gets, makes him ideal for the AWP role on my team. The other team that I think will have a great tournament will be Fnatic, so they are the other team that I'm going to pick 2 players from. I think it's important to try and pick 2 teams where you have 2 players from rather than going for like 2 1-on-1 or just a bunch of single player per team picks. It allows you to ride a lot higher if the teams you've chosen 2 players from end up winning, because you'll rack up so many points for all the victories they're going to get. The first player I'm selecting is Brolan. He's the best performing player on the team, and I'm going to give him the role of the multi-killer. The second Swede on the team is Flusher. Flusher is a good pick, as he costs less than 200,000 and has decent stats considering. I would give him the support role, but that's reserved for my last pick. So instead I'm going to make him the leader, which means he'll get points, or bonus points, when his team wins, and my predictions say he's going to win a lot. Finally, I need a really cheap player to make the budget work. The guy I've chosen is Lucason. Lucas is incredibly cheap at this event, and he has the perfect stats for the support role. He also, if things go well for MIBR, could make a decently long run into the tournament, allowing me to pick up points and points and points, whereas picking someone who's cheap on one of the other teams that I think are going to do way worse wouldn't be as worth it. So here's my team. It's risky and almost entirely based on my shoddy analysis, but it's all in good fun. This should be a fun tournament to watch, no matter the outcome. Share your thoughts in the comments, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.